Gemini King, Mike in the Night, and the Gemini crew. Ooh. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world, give this page another turn, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world, give this page another curl, 'cause you're here with us tonight.
Good morning, good evening, good night. Wherever you may be watching this transmission, I want to bid everybody a great evening, morning, night, wherever they may be. You're tuned in to Mike in the Night. Turn it down a bit. Let's scale it down a few chords. Crack open a window for some fresh air. Let's maybe spark up a nice Cohiba cigar. I'm not promoting cigar smoking. I think it's better than that vaping crap. And I'm not promoting vaping either. But sit back, maybe a little bit of sparkling water. Sit back on your easy boy chair. Whether you're in your RV, in your camper, or out in the woods in your log cabin. Spark up another wood up. Put another log on that fire, because you're tuned in to Mike in the Night. I want to thank everyone that's tuning in. Without you guys, without anyone knowing that we're here, we don't exist. So thanks to everybody for making us exist, because without each other, we don't exist. So we got the live comments rolling right now. We are streaming now on 5 different platforms as we speak. Right now, we got a 5-platform stream going. It's getting out there. It's not improving my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel has been stagnant. I haven't got a single subscriber in a month and a half, 2 months. I think what's happening is when I get a subscriber, I lose a subscriber. I get a subscriber. I don't lose a subscriber because people are unsubscribing to me. I lose a subscriber because of YouTube's algorithms. I think I'm at a cap where I can't go anymore. So if I get a sub, I lose a sub. I get a sub, I lose a sub. So I haven't gone up, but I haven't gone down. It just haven't moved in a month and a half. So, and I'm having a really tough time getting my videos over 100 views now. It's getting very tough. I got a lot better viewership when I had 2,000 subscribers. I had better views. Okay, we got Walking Journey. Okay, I'm really happy that Walking Journey is on the channel, because I want to get his attention about a couple of other platforms that are really good that I've been using, and they're way better than YouTube. So let's get over the comments. We got Tyler here saying China braces for December D-Day, the unprecedented default of massive state-owned enterprise. We got Juanin Elemas Cabron saying how, and then we got Walking Journey's ex backstabbed him. Bob Smithers saying, hey. Adrian Sharp in the house. Good evening, Mike. Hello, everybody. 26 Gunter in the house saying, yo. And we got, who else? Layla saying hello. She commented on, Layla commented on my video today about Vancouver. Tyler says Hamilton, Ontario is having so many problems. Taxes will need to go up 200% minimum in the next decade. They should start to get it over with. They really should start to get it over with. So what's happening, guys? Today we're talking about off-grid. We're not talking about singleton off-grid living, where a single person goes out and carves up a piece of land and sets himself up and lives off-grid and has a bug-out bag and this and that and solar panels. No, we're talking about an off-grid community, an off-grid town, an off-grid projects where there's like a whole town involved. And everybody works for the greater good of each other. And basically, if you sit back and actually see, if we go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we discussed this 2 years ago on Mike in the Night. 2 years ago. It's really interesting, and I'll explain to you why. Off-grid living is important because I think with the rising expenditures and the things going up in price, I'm thinking to me that a lot more people are going to start doing this, but I think doing it in a community where people are together makes a big difference. So we'll get to that in a sec. We'll go over some channel information and some stuff here. We got, Walking Journey says, I've been demonetized. Look up my stats on Social Blade. David Xavier is in the house. We got Adrian Sharp. You seem Pole and repertoring gold at record time. Okay, RV camps on the West Coast, homeless camps off grid. No, we're going to be talking about towns, man. Cy Sharp in the house. Okay, guys, this is Mike in the Night, guys. This is a Mike in the Night. Yeah, Walking Journey saying invest in a liquor store or bar. Yeah, that's the way things are. That's where things are headed right now. Everyone pulling a Tony Stark and hitting the bottle. Yeah, California is considering detaining the homeless. Yes, they've been talking about that now for years now. They have a whole agenda in play. I can't mention the agenda on this show because I'd get in trouble. But there's a whole agenda in play for the homeless in California. So what do we got? We got lots. So let's go over some channel news real quick here we need to cover. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I don't get any more subscribers. I've been stuck at exactly where I am. I think every time I gain a sub, I lose a sub. I gain a sub, I lose. I'm not losing a sub because people are just don't want to watch my stuff. I think what's been happening is they're just removing a person, unsubscribing people, and that's been happening a lot on YouTube. So thankfully, there's other platforms that are getting more views than I'm getting on YouTube with 11 subscribers. I'll show you guys in a sec. We got Juanin El Mascabron is saying Mexican Presidente is with the Sinaloa cartel. Yes, the Sinaloa cartel. Cy Sharp is saying, Mike, will your channel be doxxed on the 10th of December? Well, if it does, guys, I do have a little backup strategy here. I found a couple of channels that look good. I'm going to show you guys, okay? Here goes. Ready? That's my PayPal. There's Patreon. I'm trying to get 25 Patreon supporters by Christmas. I'm at 22 Patreon supporters, so if you want to donate $1 a month, go ahead. That's $12 a year. Now, let me get to my point. Walking Journey, I hope you're watching this. Brighton. Oh, man. It is so good. These are all my videos. Everybody's on this. Brother Nathaniel's on this. Everybody's on this channel. Lisa, what's her name? Lisa Hayvard. Lisa, I forgot her name. She's on it. There's a lot of people on this that have been, so here it is, guys. Brighton. Get on Brighton. I'm going to leave a link. Let me go to my dashboard here. Let me log in first here. Let me go into my dashboard. Then I could show you guys my channel here. So here it is. Look at this. 41 views. I put it up 7, 8 hours, maybe 6 hours ago. Maybe less. And I have, watch this. You're probably thinking 41 views. Nobody cares, Mike. I have 52 subscribers. On YouTube, to get 42 views, do you know how many subscribers you need to have? Like 3,000, 4,000. I'm not kidding you. But it depends on the channel, right? There's some channels with 2,000 subs, and they get like 7,000, 8,000 views per video. But then why is no one subscribing to the channel? That's weird, right? So something's happening. Something's really, really, really happening. So they upgrade you. So I need 530 more views for an upgrade, which is not that hard. I knock out about 200-300. Now, the more videos I put up, the easier my deduction goes down. And then I'm allowed to upload 50 videos now. And then once I reach 50, hopefully I will have my 530 views, and then it becomes 100 videos I'm allowed to upload, then 500, then 1,000. So I need you guys to do this. It doesn't have live streaming, but there's another one here that has live streaming. So I'm going to leave another link here for you guys. If you guys can, go ahead and subscribe to me on there. I got 50-something subscribers on there. Now, watch this one. Here's the one I think is going to be the one that ever... It's like you know when you go to a car show, everyone goes to see that one specific car. Or you go to a house party, a lot of guys are all going to see a specific girl to see which one she likes the most. Well, right here, BitTubers. Now look at this. 12 subscribers, videos 60, 70, 75, 80 views. And when you go on the desktop, like on the stream, I'm on there. Same thing with BitChute, all those other channels. This one here. When you go on the main channel of Brighton, this is the main channel. Look, I go to Brighton. I'm on here. There I am. Look, right here. I'm right here. This is the Brighton, like, politics. Watch. I'm probably under here. Watch. Watch. I come up again. I come up like 3-4 times. It's a fresh channel. It's only a year old, and it started. There I am, right here. Home and Garden. Tasmania says no to China. Brother Nathaniel's here. He posted a video yesterday. I'm just trying to think here. If I got... There it is. Look. Under other. I'm under other here. So they actually put you and advertise you on the front page, which is really nice. I never got that on YouTube, ever. Yeah. Yeah. See? Sandman is right there. Sandman has got it right. It looks like you're more appreciated elsewhere. You got it, buddy. You got it, buddy. You got it. So this is BitTubers. Look at all the views I'm getting. They put me on the front page. I haven't had a video yet reach 100 views. The highest I have is 95 views because it's my oldest video from 6 days. 12 subscribers. Do you know how many videos subscribers I need to get 100 views on YouTube? A lot. A lot. Okay? All right, I'm going to give you guys a link to this channel. Let me go to Mike Martin's channel. Oh, this is I'm on my channel here. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you, looks like I'm not logged in. Let me log myself in real quick here. There it is here. There's my channel. There's my, so I got 12 subscribers. If you guys want to come on this one too, I would recommend you guys coming on this thing for me, because this one here, I actually have to pay for it, and I want to pay for it because it's good. I actually have to, BitTubers, you have to pay like €8 a month, but it's really good. It allows you to do 2 live streams, and it allows you to do a lot. So here it is. Here's BitTubers if you want to come on it. Let me see if I can get my channel here. If I could get my my home channel, if I get to my channel here. Here we go. I think this goes to my channel. I'm not too sure. But I'm on the main page there, but I'm getting so many views on BitTubers. And while Hope Walking Journey, I hope Walking Journey's watching this because I really want Walking Journey. So there it is there. I think that's my profile. I don't know how to go to my channel here. But you see here, every time you upload a video, you start losing experience, and you have to keep building experience, which I am, really fast. But I might have to pay. So, you know, that's just how it is with some of these platforms, because it shouldn't be cheap, right? And that's it right there. BitTube. Yeah, BitTubers. It's like YouTubers, right? And that's that, guy. There's Brighton, guys. Get on there. And if you want to support me for $1 a month, go ahead and support me on... I am paying now. I'm going to start paying. I'm going to have to start paying to upload videos. So Red Pill Gary is saying, okay, we got lots of... Solid Extra in the house, my man. Solid Extra. Is YouTube demonetizing everyone who has kids content platform because they're scared of pedos and Spider-Man, Elsa videos? What's YouTube supposed to do with the FCC pressuring them? I don't know, man. Just go to another platform and that's it. Red Pill Gary says, all those girls turned you down in Vancouver before you got married because you were short or into gaming will likely end up a lonely cat ladies while you are not married and happy. Off-grid homes. Yeah, no, we need to talk about off-grid towns. Anyone could go off-grid nowadays. Everyone could go off-grid nowadays. It doesn't matter. We're talking about an off-grid town. So, let's get to the show. Let's get into some of the news, guys. Let's get into some of the news. Off-grid. Look at that. Imagine living like that off-grid. Catching rainwater. Man, you would have to eat coconuts and you would have to, like, build a garden in the shade or something, man, to live off grid here, like in somewhere like this. But let's get to a little bit of news from our friends over at Zero Hedge. So what do they got going on Zero Hedge? Newsweek reporter fired after peddling fake news that Trump golfed on Thanksgiving. Yeah, we're sincere. We regret we got caught. That's what the media does nowadays. They just apologize for getting caught. That's it. Bunch of losers. A bunch of losers, I say. Yeah, we need an open source internet. All right, let's keep going. Epstein tapes. Sordid case takes a bizarre turn after mystery hacker emerges. At one point, he showed what he said were classified CIA documents. Oh, we'll get to the bottom of it. The truth always finds a way to surface. Will America's trade policy end up destroying the dollar? China test fires nuke-capable missile amid Israeli model for Kashmir controversy. War of words. After top Indian diplomat called for Israeli model and Indian administrated Kashmir and New York gathering. India's test firing nukes. Why are they flexing their muscles? They had a military parade a few weeks ago. Why? What do they want to show the world? Military parades are usually wanting to show the world something. What do they want to show the world? Will Epstein's story ever be fully told? Many Americans believe that the most, if not all, of the key questions regarding the case will remain unanswered. No, it will surface. Even Kennedy, all that stuff will surface. Just give it a bit of time, guys. Give it some time. Give it time. Everything comes to light. You know that, guys. Schwab abandons high-tax San Francisco for a new $100 million mega mansion in Dallas. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You sell your house, 4-bedroom house in San Francisco. You buy a mega mansion in Texas. Starbucks barista who called a cop pig on Thanksgiving fired. What irks me is the absolute and total disrespect for a police officer who, instead of being home with the family and enjoying a meal and a football game, is patrolling his little town. Wow. Okay, China adapts malicious cybersecurity rules. If there's anyone that's going to do it and don't care if you know or not, and basically will blatantly destroy your life if they can, and destroy your computer or anything, would be China. With cybersecurity, they have rooms. I'm not talking about a room this big. I'm talking about gymnasium-sized rooms with computers, with non-stop guys on there trying to get in and infiltrate Western plans and Western ideas. And then, like, the West would be like our Prime Minister in Canada would be like, oh, you don't have to hack this information. Here you go. Take our information for free. Canada's an open door. TikTok security risk, says David Xavier. 3 Right Guy says China is investing in big on quantum computers, bigger than the USA budget. Oh yeah, big time. You guys, I told you this on the show last time and the time before and the time before. Quantum computing is the new space race. I'm not kidding you guys. Back in the 60s, during the Cold War, when Kennedy says, like, we're going to go to the moon, not because it's not because it's hard, it's because we want to, or whatever. He's making a point there. Why? It's because it's muscle flexing. It's showing. So these quantum computing eventually would crack a code, or would crack an algorithmic code that would take your regular home computer, okay, 3 months to solve. It could do it in 3.5 seconds. Literally 3.5 seconds. That would take a home computer, like a gaming home PC, would take months to do. So this is a big deal. Okay? Quantum computing is a big deal. Tyler is saying India's economic growth cools to 6-year low. That's right. Finance on the Financial Times. War and peace, how violence is disrupting the global economy. So we got disruptions all over the place. We got Chile, we got Colombia, parts of Colombia, we got Argentina, we got Peru, we got unrest right now in South Panama. We got problems right now in Santo Domingo. We got problems right now in Germany. We got problems right now in France with them protesting, the farmers protesting on in the circle there in downtown France. Farmers basically sleeping on the streets there to protest because they're not making anything. They're not getting anywhere. Farmers are getting the short end of the stick. You got problems in Lebanon. You're having problems in Iraq. You're having problems in... I think it was, Saudi Arabia. Man, you're having problems everywhere. Okay, guys? Everywhere. So we got Red Pill Gary saying, Canada is letting Huawei set up 5G infrastructure everywhere when it is a huge security risk along with the health risk. Of course it is! Do you honestly think they're gonna say, this is not good, we don't want this in our country? Canada will never do that. All right, how to lose an election 2.0, Mike Bloomberg's train wreck campaign. Yeah, it looks like Mike needs a new campaign chief. Yeah, so that's not gonna fly. You get it? Not gonna fly? Fly over? Anyways. Which countries offer the longest retirements? There's no such thing as a longer retirement because you don't know when you're going to die. What does matter is how young can you retire? That is the question. Anyways, let's go. Walking journey. I really hope I get to see you on Brighton and BitTubers. I really hope you could make it there. I really hope to see your videos on there. I'll promote your channel on there. And you'll get views. Especially on BitTubers, you could have 1 subscriber, you'll have 100 views, 200 views on your channel. It's if people decide to subscribe, that's the difference, right? So algorithmically, I'm not doing well on YouTube right now, so okay, let's look up off-grid. What do our friends at Wikipedia said? Off-grid electrification is an approach to access electricity used in countries and areas with little access to electricity. Due to the scattered or distant population, the term off-grid, OTG, can refer to living a self-sufficient manner without reliance on one more public utilities, namely the electrical grid. People who adopt themselves lifestyle are called off-gridders. Now, here's the deal. I'm not talking about an off-grid home. I'm talking about an entire off-grid town. An off-grid town. A bunch of people pool their money together, buy 600 acres somewhere in the middle of Texas, somewhere away from the tornado alley, somewhere like in a decent area, a decent, not too cold in the winter area, and somewhere in South Texas, carve out 400 or 500 acres of land, put an electric fence around it, heck, put a wall around it like they have, mark it as a nature preserve, okay, mark it as a nature preserve, no trespassing, nature preserve, no one allowed type of thing, and then have a road go into half a kilometer, and then another half a kilometer you have wagons, and then the kids, we just tell them scary stories not to get out, not to get out. So we'd be like in the middle of the woods, we start carving out, and then we got hundreds of acres around us, then no one could see the end. You know what I'm saying? The only technology we would allow, Solid Extra has a really good point here. Would your dream of off-grid town have the internet or smartphones? How much technology would you allow? You know what? I will actually go with electricity. Yeah. Electricity. And yeah, I think we'll handwrite invoices, we'll handwrite receipts, we'll handwrite everything else. We could go as far as a typewriter for technology, and that's it. That's what I'm thinking. I'm talking off-grid like that. And we because now we're in a self-sufficient community, we just give our little, our contributions, right? So let's keep going here. So that's what off-grid says, Wikipedia. Why living off-grid isn't possible for most Canadians. So they're trying to deter people from living off-grid and cottage camping, and yeah, they're trying to say that living off-grid, it is a very expensive system to get into, but if you had a community system, you see, where you harness the energy together and you electrify, the town, right? Off-grid, living off-grid 101, how do I live off-grid? You typically run some different appliances, and you would, if you get on grid, you're probably going to need energy efficient LED lighting, and we do all that stuff in town. We'll put our own lamp posts, we'll run our own power, we'll do everything. Like if we went off grid and created an off grid town, we'll buy a few mint presses to mint. You could buy them. I've actually found some to mint different coins and stuff, and the plates so that you could make your own engravings, and then you could mint your own. You know what I'm saying? That's one way. Another way, there's many ways, bartering, but bartering's old. Silver back and forth is a good way to get things done. Yeah, Red Pill Gary says greenhouses. Yeah, right there, greenhouses. Yeah, Justin Trudeau is in the an off-grid community for people kind. All right, let's keep going here. Building. Now, I'm not talking about a stupid smart city. A smart city will know where you are, what you're doing, all that. I don't want this garbage. There's no such thing as an off-grid. No. Stay far away from this crap. Look at this. 20 WWE stars who choose to live off the grid and away. Look at that. Look, 20 of them. They just want to live off grid. They want to be away from everything. They don't want the whole city life. They just want a life doing... I planted these last year or 2 years ago when I did my garden. Ooh, The Undertaker. Oh my God. There's Brock Lesnar. He works in a parking garage. I don't know some of these people, but it's good to see that people are living off grid and, just living, off grid living, away from everything. So off-gridding, here it is, guys. Off-grid. Look at that. This would be a tough nut. This right here would be a tough nut to live off-grid. Okay, even if they gave you a shelter to get started, it'd be a tough nut. You're going to have to really dig. You're going to have to find soil from somewhere. You're going to have to, oh man, you're going to have to desalgadize the ground somehow to get the salt out of it so you can start planting carrots and stuff. I wouldn't even know. Like if you got a tin, like you know those tins of survival kits with your seeds and stuff, man, I wouldn't even know. You can't even float the palm trees because palm trees are shrubs, so they sink. So they're shrubs. They won't float. They'll just go underwater. So you would have a really tough time getting, you know, something going on if you're off grid like this. You would have a really tough time. Mind you, the size of the people are tiny. This is a pretty big island to go explore, but you'll explore it in a couple of hours, but still. Wow, imagine off grid like that. I'm talking about more like this. I'm talking about let me see if I could find it here. An off grid town. Let's look at images here. Like a town. Look at this. It's got all the greenhouses. It's completely off grid. People riding bikes. I'm talking about, like, we even set up like this. We set up a greenhouse like this. Look at this, guys. And anytime someone's hungry, they could just go and eat. Right? A human being could only consume so much food till they can't eat anymore, right? We produce this much food, and there's 60 of us. We're not gonna look at the ponds here. We could even farm some codfish in these ponds. We could farm codfish. We could farm trout. Not trout. I'm just trying to think what else you could farm. That's what I'm talking about. Like this. Right? Wintertime, you could come in here. You could have lunch, dinner. We have a whole community. We have someone that takes care of the cleaning. We have someone that takes care of the trimming. We have someone that takes care of everything else, you know? That's what I'm talking about. Let me try and see. Like this. You carve out a piece of land, okay, where nobody wants to go. It has semi-mild winter, so you don't have to freeze your butt off. And you go 40 kilometers or 40 miles from this fence in, okay? And then you start building your town. So you can't even see that fence. You're like way in. So you look like you're really in there. You set up a school like this. Look at this. Build one of these. This is all paneling. This is all made in a factory and paneling. Look at this. This is all paneling. Look at that. All indoors. See the skylight? All glass. Look, and there's animals outside. I mean, we could go like this and start out. The solar panel on the roof. Drying clothes outside. But this is a good idea right here. I would have my house, my little farm, you know, I would contribute like that. Buddy would have here, and we'd all contribute, you know what I'm saying? I think the only thing we can't get away from is property tax. That's one thing we'll pay. We pay the property tax, okay? But the property tax, we could raise the money by exporting our stuff to the rest. Because we're part of the country, we'll get someone once a week or once every 5 days to go to the nearest post office to ship our goods. I'll set up a course on how to teach people how to set up online businesses, stuff like that. We could do that. I mean, we could go as far as that, where we could sell, and we'll have like an area with computers for people to run their businesses. And this way they don't have to worry about upgrading their computers. They don't have to, things like that. So I'm trying to find what I'm looking for. This is good. Don't wait to buy land and wait. Says Will Rogers, offgrid.net. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see who we got here. Off-grid living. See if we could get... Let me see if I can get a hold of Evan. I can't get a hold of Evan, man. We're going to call Evan in Hong Kong and find out what the situation is down there. Yeah, Evan's offline, man. I can't get Evan, man. We want to get an update on what's happening on Hong Kong before we get other callers in. But that's it. Off-grid living, man. Like I said, we do a shuttle run. We have our own. I mean, you guys would be so surprised if you knew how many doctors would come aboard on a project like this. I ain't kidding you guys. They would probably have 4 or 5 doctors. Yeah, I could do this. I could do surgery. I'm tired of this whole crap. I'm so tired of this living, man. I want to do this. If as long as someone could provide me the food, which I pay half my salary towards, and we all pitch in for the land, and we carve out like a half an acre for each and every one of us, distant apart. We're at an acre apart from each other, half an acre each, like this, like a hobby farm, and everybody contributes to the cause. It will work. Yeah, land should be at least 1 acre household so you can grow your own personal veggies. No, but we could also have our community veggies, right? We could have our community like this. Have something like this in the center of town. We got to have a church, though. I'm Catholic, right? And a cemetery and all that stuff for people that want to believe. Look at this. Look at this off-grid. Look at this. These guys set themselves up. Look at this in Japan. Off-grid. Look at that. Look at that in Japan. Wow. So what I'm talking about is more like this. We'd have this, okay? But we'd have homes with more land. But then on the side here, we'd have a church. We'd have a pharmacy. We'd have a hardware store. We'd have like here. And then on this side, we'll have like our botanical garden. That's like with the... in a greenhouse, right? Yeah, it's a row of houses, but this is what I'm saying. Carve out a piece of land. So this way, like when we raise our children here, they don't have to worry about, oh, we can't go out there. I wouldn't go out there, I've never gone out there type of thing until they're old enough so we can tell them about what the world is really about, right? So let's go to... See, some people would prefer a town like this with tiny homes. Older people with no families would prefer something like this to be part of a community and not be held back type of thing. I still like this in a downtown area. In our downtown area. Sorry, not in a city. I mean our downtown area on our off-grid map. Look at this. All our food growing here. This thing rotates. It circles around. It instead of building on across land, we're building upland. See, we're building upland. Yeah, we could have a little strip mall. We could have everything, like the whole 9 yards. We'll have one little cement plant to make cement for foundations and sidewalks and stuff. We'll have one plant that does asphalt and stuff to do our roads and paving. We'll have one thing, or we could have it all cobblestone, the old-fashioned cobblestone streets, cobblestone roads, because you won't see too much road traffic. It'd be more bicycling around. I don't know, guys. Let's talk about our piece of land and how we will do this off-grid. Let's see who we could get on the phone here. See who's out there. Let's see if we can get the Raven. I haven't. He comments on my videos, but I haven't been seeing him online anymore. All right, the Raven is busy right now. Oh, he's messaging me. He's probably busy. Oh, he's on the phone. Okay, no big deal. So, I want to know real off-grid living, what you guys think. But I'm not talking about me off-grid living. I'm talking about a community of 500 people that are just sick and tired of this crap. We got our solar panels. We got our, even a couple of wind turbines if the sun is not out. We got, we'll be more candlelit, more traditional, more... natural, right? See, they're trying to propose like off-grid cities. There's off-grid towns in the USA like this. There we go. We all get together for a group photo, and that's it. We have a town. We don't have to deal with, look at this one. Oh, look at the view here. Look at that. With the water. But I don't know about the whole concrete thing. I prefer cobblestone. Keep it traditional, old-fashioned. It's got to be, obviously it has to be it just can't be inland. It needs to have this. That thing right there. Basically, it has to have a river for us to fish and go out hunting and stuff. You know, there's a log cabin look you could do, but I don't want to go log cabin look. Just because we're living off-grid doesn't have to look like we're off-grid, right? You could have a normal... here we go. And we have stores like this. Our little corner stores and stuff and hardware stores. And then, like I said, we get somebody with a big truck to go into town once a week to pick up stuff for our hardware store and stuff. And then, basically, we use this silver that we print. We could cash it into currency to buy, into fiat to buy this stuff, or we could, there's many ways of doing it. Like I said, we could have a system where we sell or produce stuff where we are to sell online, okay? And when we produce it and sell online, the money goes into PayPal, and that pays a credit card, and that sends our guy to the hardware store to restock things we need. I don't know. There's just so much going on. We got Pure Grosso in the house. Make a lumber mill and produce it ourselves, Mike. Yeah, stuff like that. Have our own lumber mill. We got, for example, Supreme Cannon. He worked in a lumber mill most of his life. He understands lumber mills. So he would be the director of it and all the lumber in town and who gets the lumber for what project and whatever. We don't pay for it. We just work with it together, right? Supreme Cannon gets a house built for him, right? Supreme Cannon, you know, because he's working at the he helps us by allocating and distribution of the lumber. In return, he gets a whole house from it, right? And that's what most people are working for in their lives anyways. So you get the house, you get the little bicycle, you get a car if you'd like, stuff like that. And then our town will have our own little, if we want to call it a saloon, we'll have our own bar, our pub, we'll have our own stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just an idea I'm throwing out there. So off-grid towns, communities working. Look at this. Look at that town. What? Look at that. That's a whole town. Completely off-grid. Look at all the greenhouses. Fully solar. There we go. There we go. There we go. Here's our blueprint. Storage. Water. So we do that gravity water system. I don't know if you know it. They use it in Cuba. I was in Cuba for a few months, and in Cuba they have this gravity system where it sends water through the country without having to use pumps and machines. So we set up like that gravity system. Here's the gray water. Here's the water storage. Here's the electric car spot, right? There's the waste, livestock, fish. So we'll have a pond to farm fish, right? Our garden. Aquaponics. This is the regen. Oh, it's a regen system. I see how it works. It's a big flow chart. So it works from water to seasonal. Then it goes back down to home. Then goes back to the smart grid where everyone contributes with the solar panels. Everyone contributes to the smart grid, right? Heck, you know what? We could even cut out 5 acres and actually solar panel it and turbine it out and sell power to the nearest city, to the nearest hydro company, and actually sell them power. And we can live off, part of that. So David Gay is in the house. Layla's in the house. I know how aquaponics... Okay, let's get Lord Humongous on here. Let me see where he is. I want to know what he thinks of this idea. An off-grid town. What does he think? I can never find Lord Humongous in here in Skype. I can never find him here. I always have to look him up. Oh man, I don't know his real name. I forgot his real name. I always call him Lord Humongous. Lord Humongous. Where are you, Lord Humongous? Message me, Lord. Are you there? You are.
Yo,
What's up, dog?
what you doing?
Not much. Just here. Obviously, you know, because you're watching. You are on Mike in the Night. Turn on the light so we can see your eyes.
No, man.
Oh,
I gotta keep my low profile like the Raven.
okay. Good enough. Okay. Off grid town. Yay or nay?
Yay.
Okay. What do you see good about? Like, I mean, Go ahead, talk. You said you know how to do what? Ponics?
Aquaponic systems? Absolutely.
Okay, tell us what that means and how you can contribute to this off grid town.
Well, basically on aquaponics, you feed. It's like you put your fish inside, and they feed off the nutrients of their waste, and everything's gravity fed. So you can grow like different types of water vegetables inside of those type of systems.
Interesting. Okay, and I think we saw it there in that diagram. With that flowchart diagram of how that off grid town works.
Yeah,
I think I saw
that's
that
like
there.
that looks like that's probably less than a half an acre. I mean, you can do a lot on a third of an acre. I have a third of an acre. That's 15,000 square feet. You can build vertical gardens. You can build all kinds of stuff like that.
Okay.
Even
Well, I'm talking about like 300 acres, and
why would you need 300 acres though?
I'll explain to you why. You fence the outside, and then you have woods, and then right in the middle of the acreage would be a stream going through it. You'll plan it out exactly like I'm saying, and then that stream there, we start building around and close to the stream so we could fish and stuff. But it's like that, so we're far from the world. We're far from everything else to get out.
Mikey, the town I'm in, I'm like 5 minutes from like some of the best fishing reservoirs in the entire country.
No, I understand that, but I'm talking about people that don't want to be part of what society has become and going totally off grid and minting our own silver and bartering.
Yeah,
I'm talking about that.
yeah. And where my property's at, that's where a lot of people are doing. They're building their own shelters and stuff like that.
Okay. I'm talking about like 70, 150 of us get together, 2 doctors, 2 engineers, like all these people, even a lawyer or 2 to help us if we get mail saying, hey, what do you guys,
Dude, there's plenty of open land right around my area too. I mean, it's like this whole big. If you look at Denver and you go down in that big section, look up a town called Hartselle,
and it's
like
just
all around. That's Park County, man. It's just open flat. I actually the people I'm sharing a house with right now, they have like 35 acres down there, and they're building it up. It's really cool.
Stevie Stevens says you're going to need an armed security force. I don't think so. Who's going to go in there? We're going to fence it off, and we're going to put nature preserve and barbed wire it, and then nobody knows we're there. That's the whole point.
But do you know how much it would be to like fence off 300 acres of land?
I'm just throwing this out there. I'm talking about we get like 500 of us. Everybody chips in X amount of money, and we really make this work, and we just want to get rid of, like, remember that movie, The Village?
Yeah.
Exactly like I'm talking about, like The Village.
That's what like kind of like my little area is about, man. It just needs to be expanded on. You can buy it. You can buy a third acre for like $3,000.
Really?
That's what I did, and I'm gonna use all like natural building materials like cob building. You should look into that. It's really cool, man. Look into cob houses. Like, just Google it right now while you're on the show and show people.
Cob,
like,
what are they called? Cob?
Yeah, cob building. That's where they used to do it back in the old days in the old English, and these structures last like 800 years. There's still people that are living in them over in England and other areas in Europe. It's cob building.
Did you see that? Did you see that little greenhouse where people sitting and sitting in the greenhouse, and there's the vegetables and stuff, and it goes up. It goes upwards.
Yeah, Yeah, that's called vertical growing. Yeah, I know all about that too.
Yeah, but I'm saying like we have one of those in the middle of our town that we're building off grid for people to
Yeah,
meet up and
absolutely.
have picnic tables, right?
Yeah, there's communities already in the California desert and Arizona desert that are doing this exactly what you're talking about.
Really? But what are they doing for currency?
They're still technically on the stupid paper system, but there are new states that are coming out with gold going back to legal tender, which in the Constitution it already is. So I don't know why they need to write a new law because silver and gold have always been that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you look at the U.S. Constitution and research Article 1, Section 10, it'll tell you that the only thing they can pay debt with is gold and silver coin, and that's supposed to be our currency.
Fair enough. That's very true, actually. What
I
article?
know.
I remember what that was. Was it section 14? Article.
Section 10, Article 1, Section 10 of the
Okay.
U.S. Constitution.
What am I thinking of? 14. What was 14?
14 is probably part of it. It keeps going on.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, tell us. So, carving out, let's say 100 acres. We carve out 100 acres. If it's as cheap as you say, we pick it up, we fence it off, we make it a nature preserve. What's the first thing we need to get? We're by a river. What's the first thing we need to do? Build shelter, or do we need to start preparing for food, winter? What do we do when we're off grid like that as a town?
Well, I mean, in like the colder climates, because where my place is, it's up in the mountains, so your elevation. So you want to get your shelter built first. I would say first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
You can add rain collection, gravity fed water systems after that, like with tanks and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. So you get so you do the plumbing and the and electrical. I think how far would you want to go? I say we have basic computers. Maybe have a
Mhm.
special section in the town for people that sell online.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not in
No,
every house, and people are reading their children books by candlelight or basic electricity and just reading, and people maybe sitting around the radio. Maybe as the most basic thing you could have in your house is a radio, to listen.
yeah. I mean, it's fine. I mean, there's power up by my property. I just haven't built on it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I could build two full houses on it if I wanted to, and still have plenty of room. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's how you start the community because it's like there's the place I'm at. It's already called a village. It's called San Isabel Village. You'll see it if you look on Google Maps. It's like two and a half hours south of Denver.
Santa Isabel.
San San Isabel Village. Most of those lots are not even developed yet.
Yeah, I'm seeing it here. Hold on. Images.
It's just open land to build on.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay.
My property actually has a view of those two reservoirs there. That's where really good fishing's at.
Mm-hmm. Someone actually made a video here. Santa. It's on YouTube. Santa as Annabelle Village. Oh
Uh-huh.
wow. It's a drone video. That's what I see. That's
Oh,
what I'm
cool.
talking about. We carve out a piece of land. We keep everything as close as possible to town, so we don't need vehicles, type of thing. If we don't need them. And
Yeah, but I mean, you still want to have a vehicle to go get supplies and stuff like that.
I'm talking about keeping everything in town. I'm talking about making our own hardware store, making our own. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm going that far.
Right, you'll get there eventually, but you still got to get some kind of material to build with. You know what I mean? And there's not like a hardware store out in those areas.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
to be able to get your supplies. I mean, you can make your walls like with the sand and the cob with the straw.
Mm-hmm.
You can build all those walls out and use natural insulation and reclaimed stuff
Mm-hmm.
for like dirt cheap. There's a lady in California I just watched. She made a cob house in the high price San Francisco area,
Mm-hmm.
and her total cost was $1,200. It's on YouTube. You should go check
I was
out.
looking at cob houses here a second ago.
Yeah, they're like the old English style. They use the roofs for growing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can grow stuff off the roof. It's really cool, man. That's what I'm into.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you're not buying materials from China. You know, it's all solid material that you're actually working with, and God provides a lot of those materials for free. You know,
Yeah.
you just have to know where to find them and gather them and just start working on it.
So here it is, guys. Here's the vista of where he's talking about. San Isabel Village. Look at it. This is what I'm talking about. We just go and we actually create. So instead of going there and being on your own, living off grid alone, we actually just start a community. We recruit.
Yeah, that's what I want to do this next spring. But like I said, I'm kind of off the grid. I don't have the funds coming in anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So I'm talking about like a big thing where we start pledging. We do this. We get a startup going. We get $2.
We should all do like a Patreon page where you can donate to all.
No, Patreon. No, that won't work for Patreon. It has to be like a startup GoFundMe thing.
Oh, really?
Something like that would work. And then we get, let's say, a couple of 100 people that like we could recruit 2 doctors, 2 lawyers. We need lawyers just for litigation and in case there's some sort of a problem with what we're doing and say, no, this is a nature preserve, or you know what I mean, right? Someone to do our taxes.
Yeah, it's all the red tape that they've screwed us over with. I get it.
But you know what, Lord? Listen to me. Something came up in my mind. If I'm getting paid in silver, then income taxes change, I think.
Yeah, they should, because silver is real money. That's the problem.
So what happens to income taxes? So then there's ways to evade taxes if you're not making an income, right?
Exactly. They can't. What are they going to get out of you? I mean, you don't have their funny money that they can print trillions with, right?
Someone's took Lord, what do you know about rammed earth homes?
A lot of rammed earth is like you get like a mold, and you pack down the soil. And you can make big building blocks, basically.
Oh, I'm seeing it here.
Yeah, you can do it with old tires too. Tires are a great insulator. There's tire houses where they take all the old tires for free and they'll pack it in there, and it's got a really good R rating for like insulation.
Yeah, but Lord, here's the deal. Just because let's say we set up this town we're talking about, let's say I don't want to make it look like we're living off grid either. Just because we're off grid, I don't want it to look like we're off grid. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, that's why I picked that particular area, because it's close to a lot of resources. There's a lot of wildlife that runs through.
Yeah.
There's fishing, like some of the best in the world. Actually, a lot of people go there, like these sportsmen during the fishing season.
Well, Chrissy has a good comment. Set up a church. It's tax free. So we'll create like a Jonestown, but it's not a Jonestown. We're not preaching there. We're just, you know what I mean?
No, it'll be Mikey the Portuguese Potato Church.
Well, no Kool-Aid. No Kool-Aid.
No Kool-Aid drinking there.
But you know what I mean, right?
No, I hear you, bro. I hear you. That's my next project this next spring, is I'm going down to start developing my piece of property, my land. And I do have a hookup with the local mayor of the town there too. So it's a good source. She's actually the mother of the people we're renting from right now. I'm in town. I'm in the city right now, but
are you?
I'm living in a house.
Okay.
I got a 5-bedroom house that we're sharing with another couple.
Well, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah. I got my van. I got the humongous mobile parked outside that I lived in last winter. And my Jeep and stuff. It's all ready to go. I just need to do it this next spring. I've been dealing with medical issues, as you know, for the last couple years. So
are you getting better?
Yeah, I mean, but my neuropathy is really bad. It's just I got to take some pretty hard stuff for it.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's all right, bro. It is what it is. But I changed my diet. I lost weight. I'm doing better though, as far as that goes. So.
Well, here's the rammed earth. I got a picture of rammed earth here.
Yeah.
And this guy, there's rebarb going through the damn thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can put rebarb in it. But then there's a lot of people that even in there's a couple up in Vancouver that went kind of in the woods there, and they did like a yurt building. I don't know if you've ever heard of those.
I know what those are. Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of like the same style, but with cob, it's more like solid walls. Yeah,
I saw a cob house here.
Yeah, they're cool, man, and they last a long time. Then they're really good. They're not as great as on insulation, but in the colder places, I've been studying it. You can actually do like a straw bale. So if you get a bunch of straw bale, you can build a wall, right? You just stack the straw bale, and then you can cob on the outside, and that works really good too.
A cob
Yeah.
house would work better maybe in New Mexico, Arizona areas.
Nah, they can work in colder climates too. It's just all how you insulate everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you want to build thicker walls and stuff.
Yeah. It almost looks like the Flintstones house.
Yeah, yeah.
The
But
Flintstones.
it's cool. It's cool. Everything those people are putting in them are, made by their own hands. That's truly building your house, man. And then nobody can take it from you if you own the land below it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, Jelly Bean.
Yeah, you're the jelly bean. I like your outfit tonight. I love that hat, man. That shirt looks great.
Yeah, man, Mike in the Night.
I went to the Denver Zoo lights. They have all the whole zoo's lit up with Christmas lights and stuff tonight. A lot of fun.
Nice, nice. All right. Well, thanks for your input, Lord. I really appreciate it.
Hey, but I do need some subscribers or something to get some kind of funding going. We got to get some kind of funding going.
Well, I saw you have a channel up on BitTubers or Brighton.
Yeah, I set one up on Brighton, so I'm gonna start making some movies. I think with my phone at first. I don't know all the technical ins and outs like you do. I mean, like your show's awesome. You know what I mean?
Oh, I can tell you whatever you need to know. This is not a secret.
Oh, okay.
There's no secrets here.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. We'll have to just have a conversation one time. Maybe you can help me out.
Yeah, and I'll show you what I'm doing on my end. Like, actually show you my screen.
Oh yeah, sweet.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
That's not a problem at all.
Well, is that good, or did you want some answers on anything else that I know about?
We're good for now, and we'll get you on hopefully next week.
Awesome, brother. Get the Raven. Is the Raven gonna come on?
He
right
said
now?
he's on the phone. He was on the phone with us, Barbara Streisand.
Well, I want to find out what's going on with that whole CNN rail strike and all that.
Yeah, okay. I'll call him right now. I'll see if he's ready to pick up. All right. Have a good night.
Yep. Bye.
God bless. Bye.
Yep.
That is Lord Humongous from the Humongous Land, the Humongous Wastelands. Mike in the Night, baby. Geodesic Dome Home. Let's look this up. Geodesic Dome Home. What is that? Let's see what it looks like. Geodesic Phone Home. Oh, wow. Yeah, you can build these things off grid. Why not? This thing lets a lot of sun in. It's hot. Probably gets really hot in these things if you're not careful. And the snow won't stick on it because it's a rounded roof. So you'll get crap. The snow won't stick. The snow will just fall off. So you don't have to worry about it. Wow, that looks pretty intense. You can build these things off grid. You could build this with that packed earth, that material they're using. This has got to be really hot. Holy smokes. This is the house. The house is there, and I think the house is insulated. It's got solar panels, the whole 9 yards, and it's inside a dome. What? It's got like vegetation growing around it all year round, and strawberries and stuff all year round. What? There's another one here. I would change the color on it, though. It looks too... I don't know. It's not my... This one looks nice. That's nice. Mike Reynolds designed the Earthship. Oh, look at the inside of this one. Oh, that's awesome. This one's in the ground. No, it could have been built and they could have put earth around it and a pond in the front. They could have man-made this extra stuff. But that looks pretty pimped. Here's a whole off-grid town. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Building an off-grid town, finding a concept, getting one of those like vegetation centers where we could create and grow our own crops type of thing. And work together and have an entire off-grid community. We print our own silver. It's not that hard to mint. I've been to a silver minting factory in Mexico. It's not that hard. It's not that complicated. I've seen them minting silver, okay? And look up Venus Project. All right, we're looking up Venus Project. Oh, wow, it's a whole city. Wow. Holy. I'm not talking about this. I mean, we don't have the funding for something like this. We couldn't fund something like this. This is crazy, man. Yeah, I'm not talking about this. This way, you set up your own town, right? And you don't have visitors, so to say, right? If that makes any sense. You're in a gigantic gated community. Take a look at Orania in South Africa, self-sufficient little town. Oh, wow. Wow. Welcome to Orania. South Africa town. Self-sufficient off-grid town. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about, SA. Right there. Look, town hall meetings. People discussing what the heck is going on. But our town wouldn't want this. We don't want people to know that we're somewhere. We don't exist. We're off-grid. There's even no road to get in there. There's a road from the main road, and then it cuts off, and then it goes into forest. So if you guys haven't seen the movie The Village, I recommend you watch the movie The Village. Please watch the movie The Village, because it explains everything I'm trying to say here. Slab City, California. Okay, Slab City, California. Here we go. Wow. Yep. That's more of an artistic type town. Kind of cool. It actually looks pretty cool. It looks cool. Yeah, Kevin is saying a river is good for your own hydro. It definitely is, because what's good about a river is that you get hydro, fishing, fresh water. You don't have to depend so hard or so much on a proper well system, because you can get river water that you're always having snow caps melting and the rivers running through. Always getting that recycled fresh water coming through. Or recycled snow into glacier / mountain peak defrosting. AV 1611 is Kelowna as a dump? No, it's not. It's like kind of like a ghetto, kind of, like dump. Not really. Ghettos are not that bad, actually. It's I don't know. All right, let's see if we can get on the phone and discuss this off-grid town that we are imagining here. Off-grid town we are imagining. Let's go back to the news thing you're at here. This. Setup, look. Electric car spot, this, that. We'll have our homes on this side, and everybody goes to work here, and the livestock, our pond fishing, aquaponics, all this stuff. Our gray water, our fresh water, all kinds of stuff. You know, we set up a town like this. This is what I'm talking about. And it becomes like what it becomes is it becomes an actual gated, humongous gated community that's self-sufficient, that has its own hardware store, that has its own everything. And then basically we have one person that goes in and out of the town every day, and their job is to go to the nearest major cities to pick up supplies we need for our town, and that's it. You know, you can't order from Amazon every day. It's going to be really... You could order from Amazon in a P.O. box, again, to the nearest major city for Buddy or somebody to pick it up when they go into the major city or the next major town close to us. Yeah, there are parts of old Detroit where Earth is taking back the tear down blocks. Yeah, for sure. That's not a myth. That's true. Stuff like that is happening where you're starting to see our presence or our fingerprint or... No, not like Waco, Texas. Waco, Texas was psychotic. I'm talking about non-religious. I'm talking about like if you want to be religious, that's your call. But I'm talking about like not being a slave to the man. You know what I'm saying? Look at this. Look, all paths. Like in the town, we'll have these own like footpaths that we make on our own. And then in the center of it, we'll put cobblestone, whatchamacallit, interlock, right? No, you could try to build your own town, but there will always be a bunch of lazy bums. No. We handpick everybody. Everyone's handpicked into this inclusion group. It's an inclusive group. Everybody needs to chip in X amount. Everybody needs to agree on a location, and everybody needs to agree on everything. And it's got to be away from everything else, so that we're completely a gated community that's away from everything else, and we don't depend on anybody, because we have our own power, we have our own water, and we have our own food. And most people, that's what they work for their whole lives, is just to sustain a life. And you can get one, and you don't have to kill yourself for it. You know what I'm saying? Someone saying like a weird sex cult. No. Metal Gear Mark III is down for volunteering. Yeah, everybody. We get a few doctors, right? We need a few doctor volunteers. 2 lawyers to do litigation for us. A couple of ex-military that could help with the patrolling and the perimeter, way out the perimeter, to go out in a golf cart, check things out, making sure there's nobody hopping our fences or cutting our fences. We make it look like a nature preserve on the outside. And we have a river going through it. And like Buddy said in the comments, we got our hydro going. Yeah, Mike, the old way in Africa is what you were thinking about. It worked for centuries. Yeah, like back in colonial Europe, like you'd have cities that were so far apart from each other that they were considered off-grid. Even though they're in the same country, even though they're in the same even region, they're still off-grid because there's no... Back in colonial Europe, you never had electricity or telegraph or phone to connect these cities, like in highways. You had like 2 like dirt wheels from your carriage, from your horse and carriage, and that's it, connecting the towns. Like the Mormons. All right. You can make hemp bricks. Yeah, there's so much. We can grow hemp and make paper, clothing, all kinds of crap. All right. Why is my Skype closed? All right. My Skype closed. All right. Let me see if Raven's free, if he wants to come on the show, if he cares to, if he's not busy. Yeah, we got to talk. This is going to be the ultimate solution for a lot of people. Is contributing their skill, their labor. If people don't want to be productive, that's their call. They could stay in the city and do whatever the heck they want to do that they've been doing all this time. I think that's a good thing to do. If you don't want to be productive, do that. So we got, what's his name? Let's see if we can find Supreme here. I haven't seen Supreme Canon. I haven't seen him in the, never mind, he's in the comments. The Mormons had to start a huge piece of country nobody else wanted. Good luck doing it now. All right, let's get Supreme. I gotta talk to Supreme. All right, let's get Supreme.
Hola.
What's up, brother?
Oh, not much. Just watching some YouTube right now, you know.
I know you are because I see you in the comments.
That's right. There I am.
Okay, question.
Sure.
Off-grid town. We've talked about off-grid living on our own, but an off-grid town. Recruiting people that want to be part of it, recruiting a couple of doctors, a couple of lawyers for the litigation, construction people, and a community that's actually going to work on the hydroponics, the growing the vegetables, the greenhouses, the this, chopping wood. What do you think? Am I just delusionary, or we should head towards the information age even further?
Well, you know, if you manage to find, your quote unquote tribe, right? Like we've talked about many times on here, and I think we've even talked about off-grid communities before. If you can find like-minded people who are able to come, okay, and do that, it just comes down to everybody wants to get off the grid, but it's because you want to get away from the system, right? You want to get away from quote unquote the man. You want to do your own thing. It's just a matter of what are you going to, what's going to be the founding principle of this basically a small civilization that you're going to build. Mm-hmm. Because every civilization ever dug out of the rock or out of the sand, okay, has got a temple in the middle of the town. What is your central organizing principle going to be? Because everyone has to agree on that. Because once people are in, it's, and if they turn out not to work out and they don't want to leave on their own, it comes down to, okay, how the hell do you get them out? What do you do with them? I think if you have people that are on the same page, you can make anything happen.
Right.
But they've got to have a cultural similarity. They've got to have a similar belief, because collectivism, it sounds good, but I think it's just going to be something that you do until the basic bare bones of the town are built. From that point on, everybody kind of wants to do their own thing, right? They want their own house. They want their own chunk of land. They want to build something for the future. You're going to have a common purpose for being there, but you got to be able to do your own thing too. There's got to be room for that. Yeah, so it's going to be a big piece of land.
Blunt Muse is saying, why does there have to be a centralized hub? Well, I think there should be a centralized hub like this, like I'm showing here on the screen, because then you could basically, let me just zoom this in a bit more here so you guys can see a bit better. Like this, all these little greenhouses and stuff. Centralized hub so people can meet up in the indoor greenhouses and stuff if it's winter or if the weather isn't good. We could still have community fairs and town stuff and swap meets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you want a town hall. You want a city center of some kind. You want a community center. So whether it's a big hall or whether it's maybe it's Roman Catholics, Mike. Maybe you want a church. You want a little church there of some kind, or a chapel, right? You want something where people that have a common value, a reason to be there. Because if it's going to work, it has to be a high trust society. And the only way you have those is you got to have people that have way more in common than that they don't have in common. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Everyone's going to have differences. You're going to have some politics. You're going to have what people do when they get together in a community. It's going to happen. If you're going to have continuity, well, then you're going to have families. Mm-hmm. So, it's either going to be married couples or it's going to be an agreement that, when the sons and daughters grow up, they'll get first call. I mean, the Amish they have their rituals like Rumspringa, where the kids can leave the community for a year and then decide if they're going to come back or not, kind of a thing, right? Something like that. It's almost like that all has to be sorted out before you even break ground, because you're going to put the call out for people who have the means to come, who have the capital to come and build their own piece of it, right?
Mhm.
It's going to be components of a community. You can lay out a street grid. You can even put in the basics of infrastructure to begin with, but you could have people with all the skills in the world, but if you don't have money to buy pipe and pumps and drill a well, you got to kind of start there. It's going to be it probably have to be subdividable, or it's going to be held in some kind of undivided or common interest, almost like a strata.
Mhm.
Right. So if someone's wants to leave or die out, but somebody else can come, you've got like a gated community.
Right,
People
exactly.
don't get
That's
into
what I mean. Yeah.
you can't just buy into it. You got to have approval of the community, council, right?
And how
It
do
looks
we
like
how do we have our own justice system if somebody decides to go against, not against what we're saying, but more against or do bad, like bad?
right. In a case like that, it's going to be hard in an interconnected world to have a whole bunch of frontier justice. Are you
Hello.
still there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm hearing my voice in the background again. Hang on a second. I should shut this. There we go. Yeah, in terms of law enforcement, I don't think there's anywhere in Canada that you could have something and declare yourself, at least openly, where the law is null and void. I mean,
No, it could be community policing, community security.
Yeah, community policing would have to be. You can't go against the rules. If the rules get really bad, well, you're going to have creative ways to filter who comes in and out of that community. It's blunt news. They have survival in common. They're all homesteading. Yeah, that's the thing. Commerce develops naturally, right? Whenever people get together, and then you wind up in a situation where you have some division of labor. Like someone takes care of most of the plumbing, and someone takes care of the building and the repairing, and everybody has got some skills in terms of agriculture or what have you. Obviously, because you're all going to feed yourselves. Someone will eventually have orchards. It's just that if you're going to plant orchards and things like time,
Mm-hmm.
it's a few years before they're going to start producing. It's going to be a 10-year plan.
Oh yeah,
It would be nice.
I'm not talking
nice.
about an overnight thing, but I'm talking about really starting, to swing the axe and really start to really, create our own little library. Create our, you know what I'm saying? It just because
Yeah.
we're going to be living on an off-grid scenario doesn't mean it has to look it, right?
Well, that's right. Yeah. No, the technology is still going to be there. I mean,
Like
as long
we'll
as
have our cars, like our electric cars. We'll have this. We could do a pioneers, or we could do like
Yeah.
a smart city, but not tracking us because it's our own technology.
Yeah, well, that works for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a solar panel and you have a server somewhere. Yeah, you can still have contact with the outside world. It would be nice to be in a hollow somewhere, a river bottom where, maybe the phones don't work, so the kids aren't on them all day, that kind of a thing.
Yeah. That's the
Because
thing.
ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to get away from modernity as much as possible without, living like you're in sub-Saharan Africa, basically. You want something that is kind of like a farm in British Columbia or on the prairies in, say, 1950 or 1960, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's still a pretty big life, and your days are going to be long, but it's good, clean work,
Mm-hmm.
and you're feeding yourself, and you're getting the fruits of your own labor rather than just handing it all off to somebody else. You're getting away from modern capitalism quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still going to have some, because of course you're always going to need supplies from the outside.
Right. That's why we have a go-to guy, a guy that we could go to that basically goes and does, and gets our stuff type of thing. Oh, I need this, I need that. We have everybody has a set of PO boxes in the nearest city.
Yeah.
So they
An
can still get
alternative
mail, things like that. We'll still keep
Yeah.
it civil, but we just in a giant gated community that basically there's no unwanted visitors, because this way we could create our own, like, let's say, democracy. Because remember, Supreme, you go back 200 years, every town and every city was off grid.
Yeah.
Every city.
Yeah, that's right.
They weren't connected. They were connected by two dirt paths for the horses to go with their carriage.
That's right. It wasn't that long ago. You had to ride into the nearest town or the nearest rail siding and send a telegraph if you wanted to, if you wanted to order something from Sears, right? And then it came on the train a week later or what have you. I'd like to see some kind of a steampunk future, which is a little more like that, right?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, eh?
1930s, 1940s Art Deco kind of technology, but some electrics and electronics to keep it interesting, kind of a thing, eh? Mm-hmm. That would be pretty cool. It's the thing is, it's going to take capital, and it may not be a matter of just establishing your own town. Like there are probably little hamlets here and there, even in British Columbia, that are, just because people have gotten old and the kids have moved away, are probably about ready to be abandoned. Mm-hmm. You might just be able to pick one of those up and get something started.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like those ghost towns you see all across parts of Nebraska, Wyoming.
Yeah, I mean, there might be one power line going into town, and that's really all you need. It doesn't mean you can't have electric lights. It's just that you're gonna take the bare bones again of a community maybe that already existed and for whatever reason has been abandoned, and you're going to revive it and turn it into something else.
Mm-hmm. So Buddy's saying Metal Gear Mark 3 is $12,000 for 5 acres in Harstill. So for give an example, like everybody contributes. I'll give an example. We're just being fictional here, right? Everyone puts in $50K, $12K mm-hmm. each. Would go towards the land purchase, so 5 acres. So that would be what we do. For an example, like he's saying in the comments, was we'd buy a huge piece of land, and then we'd be smack dab in the middle. Hopefully, there's a river there, and we could set up right next to a river for hydro and all the essentials we need, and then grow from there. That would be awesome.
Oh, sure, absolutely. All over North America, there's all kinds of land available, and you think, oh well, it's overpopulated. You never. No, I think even in V-Man 293, he's talking about free land in Michigan, Idaho, Ohio, Illinois. Yeah, there's still a lot of areas that are by no means crowded. Hartselle is an old ghost town, a few shops in town, and a gas station. Yeah, something like that. Like in Alberta, for example, there are a lot of side roads where there's little hamlets that are, it's literally the end of the road. Like there's nothing beyond that. It's just because it serviced all the local farms or something like that. There's, a general store and maybe a little hardware store and some houses, but there's nothing else, right? Like it doesn't go anywhere. It's 10 miles from the freeway, and it's just a straight road into a cul-de-sac somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a place like Horsefly in the Caribou, and land is pretty expensive in that area, sad to say, but it's literally the end of the pavement. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple of stores and a gas station, and it's a neat little place. And there's probably a few of them around.
We got Mike Banks in the comments saying, I heard in BC some Chinese investors built 100 townhouses in the middle of nowhere. I heard about this too. In the middle of nowhere, and to this day, it's still completely empty, brand new homes. Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
That's true. I remember because I was reading articles about that, and I think it was 144 homes they built. And what happened was they were having a really tough time getting hookups.
Mm-hmm.
For I think it wasn't water. I think they were having problems getting hydro in there or something. But they managed to get it. They managed to get everything, but it's completely empty. If you go to Spain, there's a lot of ghost cities in Spain.
Oh yeah, no one's had kids. I mean, there's.
Oh, I'm not even talking about. I'm talking about like they built all these villas and all these things, thinking that tourism was going to go there and people are going to buy property in Spain. I'll show you an image of it. You're gonna look at it and you're gonna be like, oh my God, Mike. Okay, I know you said ghost town is like, I didn't think it was that kind of ghost town. It's enormous. Ghost town in Spain. Watch this. You're gonna freak out. Ghost town in Spain. Look at this. Look at this, people. Look. I'm talking. Look. like they have in China, but worse. There's like nobody there. Like it's completely. Look at this. Look at this. They call it Europe's modern day ghost towns. Look at this.
Well, there's going to be a lot of them after the meltdown because there's going to be an awful lot of Jenga mail, right? There's going to be foreclosed houses all over the place.
Wow, houses everywhere. Look at this. This is in Spain. Look at this, people.
Yeah, I'm on a delay here. I'm not seeing it right away.
Oh no, I'm just saying. I'm just grabbing people.
Yeah, by all means.
But that's it, man. That's like in Spain. It's pretty bad, guys. It's not what you think. So I mean, maybe even Supreme buying this up on 10 cents on the dollar or pennies on the dollar and buying up a small town like this that already exists, has a grid, has everything, has land around it. Pick up all the land all around it. And this whole square here, and then just create your aquaponics farm, this, that, and it's Spain, so the weather's not that bad.
Yeah, right.
So
Mediterranean. That's crazy. Like, you think someone would have snapped all that up already?
No, we pick something like this up, like everyone that would type of thing, and then that's it.
Yeah.
We create our own little hospital, we create our own little thing, we create our own little economy, and then if people passing through notice, hey, that town is happening. I thought it was abandoned. They come in, spend money. You know what I'm saying? And everyone in town keeps an eye on folk that don't, people that don't belong in there. Look out for their own.
Yeah, well, there needs to be a place where that kind of community has a chance to take root again. It's that's part of it is just anybody that does try to intervene and enforce some kind of community standards. There's always some local social justice warrior interfering with them, or some judge that will overturn anything you want to do in order to keep things kind of the way they used to be. Because the way that things used to be, at least there was an opportunity to create some wealth and to create some order. But there's just this fetish with chaos. I'm hoping we're getting to a point where enough people are getting sick of it. Degeneracy, they sell it as fun for a long time, but eventually for most people, it stops being fun. They get real tired of it because, it's a road to nowhere. So hopefully, there's a lot more people now that have got it in their heart and their mind to start over. Hit the reset button and start this damn civilization over again, because it's really gone into a cul-de-sac.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's getting to that point, Some places are going for $1 in Spain. Yeah, it's true. Metal Gear Mark Solid. I'm not kidding. Like, in Spain, the Spanish government are giving citizens free, offshore citizens that are living in Canada and USA, if they want to come back to Spain, because obviously they think they might come back with a little bit of money. They're thinking that we'll give you a free house, okay?
Yeah.
And all you have to do is maintain it and pay the taxes, and you have a free house. And they did it in Italy a few years back, and it's gotten really popular. They've rejuvenated, I think, 3 or 4 small towns in the middle of Italy, and they're thriving.
Well, and it may be a place that would give people pause to begin with, but apparently Russia was offering land to a lot of South African farmers, like in the Russian Far East. It's completely undeveloped. There's tons of farmland, and there's huge river valleys and lake systems and stuff like that no human has ever set foot on, other than maybe when it was first explored. It's just underpopulated, and they want it developed, and they just want somebody to come, and you can homestead 5 or 10 acres, and they'll give it to you for free as long as you do something with it.
Exactly. That the South African farmers that are being persecuted, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the ones that want out. I mean, a lot of them, I don't know if they're all that concerned about it. It seems like there are a lot of South Africans that get caught by surprise by this. So it seems like it's not everywhere. It's like Sweden. You hear about all these terrible things happening in Sweden. Well, there seems to be an awful lot of Swedes don't really care one way or the other, so it doesn't seem to be affecting them that badly. Mm-hmm. It's not everywhere. Lots of Germans that they like their lives just fine, and they don't think that these they don't experience these migrants, because again, most of them are in the big cities. And people that don't live in downtown Berlin or downtown Stockholm or something like that, they don't see any of this. It's not affecting them that much at all.
So
So
like, I mean, I think that would be pretty cool. Like, what countries, like, let's think of countries. I mean, with Canada, the US, yeah, I mean, but imagine starting a town like this, getting the recruits, everybody getting out, setting up, doing something like in Japan, in the middle of, by Mount Fuji, somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Japan. Imagine doing it out there.
It's not impossible. I think there's lots that.
I think it'd be so intriguing. You know what I'm saying? To do it on foreign land. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. Going somewhere and doing something new, something completely different. You know, the literal reset button on your life, and you're hitting the reset button on the course of events in a community that maybe, you know, is just people have left because there just seems to be no progress. And there doesn't seem to be any way for them to get ahead in life, so they all leave, or their kids leave, and then the place just goes to seed. I mean, there are homes and sitting empty all over Northwestern Europe because, you know, they're old people that didn't have kids and they died and there was no one to leave it to. You know what I mean? Like there's places that are emptying out. They're literally emptying out. Ghost towns everywhere. So that's probably what you want. You want to find one of those ghost towns.
You know what? There's one. I received an email. I remember when I did just a standalone video, 8 minutes long, about Japan giving away free homes. Okay?
Yeah.
And somebody actually emailed me from Japan asking if I want to join a community where there's going to be a community of about 200 volunteers or people will receive a home and will actually contribute to this and that. And it's a small town. I'll show you where it was. Hold on.
Okay.
So the government was giving away free homes, and there's a town in Japan. It's not Fukushima, obviously. I'm looking for I'm trying to find where the town was. It's an old town. It has a temple. It has everything. And the houses were built to last in that time when they were built, right? And I'm trying to see, all this Fukushima stuff keeps coming up. I'm not. Here's an article. Hundreds of abandoned houses, hundreds of small towns across Japan littered with empty towns.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Hundreds. Yeah, it's a big problem for a lot of the world. But you know what? It had to happen. Because, you know, population in a lot of these places, I mean, it really went hockey stick in the last 50 or 100 years. And you get to the point where, you know, like part of the reason they're bringing all these migrants in, it's not just about, we're going to replace all the people that are there already. It's because, like I said before, you know, population growth is considered an indicator just like GDP. So in a way, it's like the tail wagging the dog. Well, if the population is increasing, then we're simulating economic growth. Right, a place like Japan, part of the problem, of course, is, you know, people aren't getting married and they're not having, you know, 2.3 kids to keep things going, and they're getting to the point where they're probably getting desperate. Like they need to get people in there to make things happen. The thing is that most of us, when we think about expatriating, we're thinking in terms of retirement, right? I don't know if you can homestead in Japan because, you know, just ask a Japanese farmer what it would be like to work there, right? Yeah, it's exactly, Harlip. Town's dying all over, and part of it is artificial. It's just because we're in a late stage of an economic cycle, and things are stagnating. And so you want to, you know, you're going to go to these places, but you're still going to have to bring money, even if they, you know, sell you a home for a dollar. You know, what's the other side of the coin? They need someone to pay taxes, and keep things going and maybe develop it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that town. I got an email. I got to go. It's in my email really, really, really way back from about half a year ago. And there's a couple of towns that they're looking at, actually looking for volunteers to come, and they get a house. Basically, you get a house, and you obviously get food, right? And you start out. And he said there's a school in it that's abandoned, an abandoned school. There's already one gas station that's been there that's been shut down for like 40 years now, but it's still, the tanks are apparently still good from his email. There's a possibility of reviving the town, but yeah. So I was looking into it, and I read the email. I kind of wanted to read it on one of my videos just to read it, but then I kind of lost track of it and then just moved on to other things, right?
Yeah.
But there's hundreds of ghost towns across Japan.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, it's bad, but it was inevitable. We're like I said, we're late stage in an economic cycle, and we're not just like a 7 to 10 year business cycle. We're late stage in an economic cycle that is probably a century old, right? Things are changing, and people's priorities are changing, and there's been way too many promises made by too many governments, and unfortunately for them, the people that work for the government think it's the greatest thing in the world and secure, but the people who are expected to generate the wealth to pay for it all are getting hammered. I mean, I'm certainly experiencing it. They're definitely experiencing it. In the next province over the Rockies here. I mean, they're getting hammered too, and I mean, they've got probably the lowest taxes in Canada, and they're still getting crushed, right? There's probably some conditions on buying in a place like that, but if we could find one. Harlot mentioned Castor, Alberta. I'm not sure exactly where that is. He could probably put it in the comments. But a place like that, where the real estate is. The big thing is you don't want to pay too much for a house. Maybe you don't expect it for $1, but you want a place with functional infrastructure. You can go off grid later.
Here it is, Castor, Alberta. I think that's a school.
Yeah. Yeah, all over the Caribou, for example, like the baby boom, there was little elementary schools that were built in some of the weirdest places you can imagine. Well, the kids are all grown and gone, and there were no new kids, not enough new kids came. So there's people that buy old elementary schools and the properties and turn them into homes or turn them into centers of one kind or another. There was one literally 2 miles down the road from where I lived up north before I came back down here.
Interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
So
I've
all
seen
kinds
them converting lofts and converting these things into lofts at times from time to time.
Yeah,
and they do really well when they convert them into lots. I notice because they look nice.
Yeah, they clean up pretty good. Yeah.
Well, because you got high ceilings, right? You got high ceilings, a decent foundation, and those structures, those old schools and those old elementary schools, they were built to last. A lot of them have asbestos and stuff. You got to watch out for that and lead paint. But
yeah, if it was built in the late 50s, early 60s, for example, but I don't know when they did away with asbestos insulation, but I think probably by the early 70s that had all been banned or was about to be. So, but that would all be in the disclosure when you bought it. They would tell you if it's. And the thing about asbestos insulation is, like anybody would say, it's fine as long as you don't disturb it. If you're not planning on ripping out a wall or ripping out the ceiling, rather, and you're aware it's there, and it doesn't get moved, well, it's probably not an issue.
I got a comment here from Mike Banks as well. The economy and money play such a big role in our lives now. It's starting to feel like feel unfeasible to be in your 30s and have a wife and kid and career in the city for non-rich people.
Oh yeah, we're getting slaughtered out here. I've called it slow motion Black Death 2.0, and that's what it is.
I call it the skyscraper dark age.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Everyone is migrating to work as on the treadmill as slaves in the urban termite mounds, and the countryside is emptying out. And it's ridiculous. It should be cheap to live out here. It should be. I mean, it is cheaper, of course, but it should be really cheap to live in a lot of places, especially in Western Canada, because there is so much land, and there are lots of communities that they're emptied out and or there's just not a lot left there. You could find a place with some old post World War II kind of homes and rip them out and make them comfortable. And it's like downtown in Kamloops, for example. There are a lot of businesses that will take older heritage homes on some of the original streets, and they will turn them into dentist office and law offices and things like that, right? So it can be done. It's a good location, and it's and it's a heritage building, right? So there's probably some benefits to owning it. So old communities that set up, say between the world wars, and then they've just kind of petered out over time, and that does happen all the time as well.
Blunt
Yeah,
News.
there's probably some good deals out there.
Blunt News got a good comment here. There is a nation in the making on the border of Croatia. It's about breaking away from this madness. You can apply. Just tell them your skill.
Interesting. What's the name of that nation?
Yeah, bud. Let us know.
Yeah,
Because you know
it's
what I
gonna be.
apply for? I'd apply and say, I'm good at drinking beer and I know things.
Yeah, well, that's perfect. Isn't that just what they want there?
Yeah, remember that's
Perfect.
from the guy from the guy from the Game of Thrones.
Right.
The little guy. The I think the queen goes to her, or the lady, or whatever.
Yeah.
What can you offer my court? What can a little man like you bring to this court? Well, I drink and I know things.
Yeah. Ask me anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
kind of like me. I have a lot of knowledge about a few things and a little knowledge about just about everything else.
Mike-
Just enough to be danger to myself and those around me.
Okay, we got Mike Banks saying it feels like the whole world wants a piece of Western Canada. That's true.
Yeah, can you blame them? The problem is that the reason Western Canada was so good, I mean, they're destroying it. They're destroying all of that. It's like someone mentioned Kelowna earlier. Well, Kelowna was always a very nice place and very desirable and all the rest of it. It's not so desirable anymore.
No,
Because-
everyone's
just because-
complaining that it's turning into like a poop show.
It's turning into a poop show. It's turning into just another built-up urban area, overpriced, pretentious. The only orchards you see anymore is like on a shopping mall. Like there are no orchards anymore.
Or on rooftops.
Yeah, the only sawmill in town is closing down because the land is worth more than the business ever would be, and that's too bad.
Okay, this place exists. It's called Liberland. Liberland, officially, the Free Republic of Liberland, is a micronation claiming an uninhabited parcel of disputed land on western bank of the Danube between Croatia and Serbia. It was proclaimed on the 13th of April in 2015 by Czech liberation politician and activists. Okay, let's look into this here.
Yeah, let's have a look. Well, you've got little places like you've got Monaco, right? And
Yeah,
you've
but
got,
Monaco, you
and-
need $1 zillion.
Well, you need $1 zillion now, yeah. And
get
also
involved.
like,
Here it is, Liberland, Free Republic.
yeah, there you go.
They
It's like
even have their own
Luxembourg.
constitution. You could contact them. You could donate to their cause. You could apply for citizenship, and they got their own news. Let's see what's in the news here. Let's see if it's up to date.
Yeah, you see little places like Andorra and Liechtenstein and Luxembourg, and they were probably originally, duchies or something like that. One of those little pieces of, royalty-owned land that wound up not being absorbed by one great power or another. Then they still exist.
Okay, this place is
So-
happening because this was posted yesterday.
Okay,
So this is happening.
Free Republic of Liberland.
Yeah, this place is happening, man. It really is. So there's a citizenship application for the Free Republic of Liberland.
Yeah.
Liberland.
Well, it'd be almost like Hong Kong, right? Like Hong Kong had no resources, and it was very obviously space was always at a premium in a place like that, and yet it became a trade hub and a financial hub for the all of Asia for a while. Just because you can start a company with one piece of paper, you don't need to fill out a bunch of applications, but you're on your own there, right?
Well,
Yeah,
this
metal-
constitution here looks like it's an airtight, man. It's got every angle covered.
Yeah, well, that'd be pretty good.
Like Article 2, corners of power of the public administration. No law shall prohibit any act or omission which does not directly harm any other person or cause unwarranted suffering to animal capable of conscious behavior to harm the environment beyond the boundaries of one's property. So, like,
Right.
they have it pretty much set up in a way where they're fixing all the loopholes that they could use the language against us.
Yeah.
Like right now, the Constitution that the United States has, or the Canadian one is so transparent it could mean anything.
That's the problem. Yeah. Well, so if you have an activist judiciary like you have in the United States, you have people that will they'll find all kinds of little Well, we think it means that, and we think it means the other thing, and then the court actually sets policy, and that policy could be completely against the U.S. Constitution. I mean, the Second Amendment applies to all American citizens, and yet there are whole cities in the United States that have declared themselves gun-free zones. Well, that's unconstitutional. If you're a law-abiding citizen, you should be able to own a gun. And yet there are places where apparently the judiciary is not willing to overrule the cities and say, no, you can't infringe on people's constitutional rights like that.
Okay, it's west of Serbia, south of Hungary, and east of Croatia.
Okay.
It's like right in the middle. It's by a river, so you got a river going through it, and this is their future. This is what they want to build on it. So this is an image, a 3D image here of what they want to build. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
Sure. Okay. Well, then it would have been part. It would have been part of the old. Well, not necessarily the Habsburg Empire, but it would have been part of. It might actually have been part of Serbia at one time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, somebody owned it at some point. If it's not claimed now, I'd be curious to know why. Because usually, if you have a little piece of territory like that, you've got countries like that fight wars over it. So, so I'm just wondering how it managed not to be claimed. Maybe some local nobleman actually owns it.
Really?
It's not impossible. I mean, if you look at disputed areas like Kashmir, right, between India and Pakistan, there's actually an island, basically a rocky outcrop that's disputed territory between Canada and Denmark, right? They're not going to fight a war over it, but every once in a while the Danish Navy will go and put their flag on it, leave a bottle of schnapps or something, and then the Canadians will go, a couple months later and put the Canadian flag up and leave a bottle of whiskey for the next guy, right? It's not fighting a war over it, but they're disputed who owns it. So it might be something like that. It might be somebody just saying, okay, well, this piece, nobody seems to want it, or at least they don't think it's worth fighting over. So here's our opportunity.
Well, they'll start fighting over it once it becomes like Hong Kong. Once you make it into a technology information hub, bringing it into the 21st century, guess what? Croatia, Serbia, all of them will have their eyes on it.
Sure. Well, it might be something like a special economic zone, like Shanghai in China. I mean, China is still officially a communist country, but special economic zones are areas where, the collectivist aspect of it has been suspended so that somebody can go make some money, right? Because the thing about communism is it doesn't pay the bills. Mm-hmm. That's the problem with it. It doesn't work. So you need to make the money somehow. It might be a laissez-faire area where you got some free trade and you've got very low taxes or zero taxes, so you can encourage investment and build something like Hong Kong.
But here's the thing. I'm looking at their passport here. They have their own passport, right?
Okay.
So, but who recognizes this? Like if I show up, let's say in Mexico, and I show them this passport, what are they going to do? Like, would they allow me into their country?
Good question. Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to research it. I can imagine the price of admission is not low. Because for one thing, it's going to be you've got to see a financial advantage to being there, first of all, and second of all, just in case one of those much larger nations on all three sides of you decides I'm going to help myself to this place, you're not going to stop them. Mm-hmm. Liberland will never have its own tanks, I'm sure. So,
no, I know that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a nice thought. There's been speculation over the years of using somewhere like on one of the coasts in say South America or even in Western Africa, mm-hmm. where you just carve out a couple thousand acres and just call it a laissez-faire economic zone, and it could even be a financial center like the Cayman Islands or Barbados. Like people can put their money there tax free.
Well, they have Thomas Jefferson on their. They have Thomas Jefferson on their gold coin.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh well, then that's probably their constitution is going to be pretty libertarian. It's going to be pretty pro individual and anti state.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So that's interesting. Yeah, it is interesting.
But didn't they do that in Africa with Liberia?
Well, the idea of Liberia's constitution is identical to the American one, and the flag is almost identical.
Right.
It was set up for a place for the slaves to be sent back after the Civil War. It just never happened. So so Liberia went to seed, and it's had a couple civil wars fought there, and yeah, it's just a gong show. But originally, it was set up because, let's face it, Europe owned most of Africa at that time, so that the slaves could be repatriated, and they could still live as free men.
Mm-hmm.
They had an opportunity to build, their own version of America on their own continent.
Right.
And in a way, it's kind of a shame that they still don't offer, because I have a feeling the U.S. could just say, okay, we want it to be this way, and send some money their way, and the government of Liberia would say, sure, whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, they could offer people who just really are completely disenchanted with America a chance to, to go there. Give them all 50 grand US and their own M16, and and here's 2 acres of good land, and and we'll give you 5 years. If it don't work out, you can come back, but you don't have to give up your citizenship right away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. If our government would do something like that, so that people like us could just leave, you know what I mean? Like, if the left is going to take over here, then there's going to be a civil war, or there's going to be a mass expatriation, because you expect there to be a left and you expect there to be a right, but there has to be a debate between them. But one side has all the cards and is just constantly beating on the other. It's just a matter of time before somebody starts thinking about loading up the boxcars. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just assume me and mine not be here, and have somewhere else to go.
Here are the historical images of Liberia here.
Yeah.
And them basically creating their own country, I guess. Then there was a 1980 Liberian coup.
Yeah.
There was a coup, so there was. Yeah. Then you have teenagers walking around with M16s.
Yeah, they have gangs and warlords, and I think that's where General Butt Naked was operating, wasn't it? In Liberia, Sierra Leone, or something like that. Yeah, I saw an article about 10 years ago on General Butt Naked.
But it doesn't even look anywhere remotely close to like Portuguese Africa. You type in. Portuguese Africa, it's completely different. It's Portuguese Africa is not like French Africa either. It's actually built. There's everything: skyscrapers, hotels, banks, stuff, soccer stadiums everywhere. It looks like Rio de Janeiro.
I don't think they. I think they intended to stay there. I don't.
Yeah,
think
the Portuguese were expansionists, not colonists, because they were there 500 years. Unlike the French, were just in Africa to rape it.
Yeah. Yeah, they were there to expand their country
and arm both sides of conflicts they create.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the exploitation, it's just brutal. And then after decolonization, well, then you had the anti-communist movement. So you had the KGB and the CIA stirring up trouble all over Africa. It's not that they ever really had a chance, right? Like, we came in there and built our version of civilization. Mm-hmm. And then wound up handing it off to them, but we didn't hand it off to them. We handed it off to the IMF. Mm. So it's just very, very difficult for former colonies to be independent. Hell, look at Canada. We're a former colony, and we're having trouble being independent from these people. It's terrible.
So Mike Banks has a question. If all governments are corrupt, does that mean that all people in the land are corrupt? No, there's different levels of corruption, and there's different levels, right?
So, I mean, in a way, you still get the government you deserve, right? Your governments are a necessary evil. They're evil, but they're a necessary evil. They can be a big evil or a small evil. You're just going to, it's how you govern yourself. Mm-hmm. And this is a problem. A lot of people are really no better than children. They really still complain and say the government needs to do this and the government needs to do that. That's not how a place like Canada got built. That's not how America got built. It's not even it's not going to happen that way. You've got to what are we talking about tonight? We're talking about setting up basically our own fiefdom, our own government. something where we can be responsible and use our brains and reap the fruits of our labor without, having it all siphoned off or having people demand.
Yeah, screw the capitals. Sending provincial sales tax and then federal sales tax. We could maintain, or it'd be like a libertarian thing where we have our own, we pay for our own schooling, we pay for our own roads. We don't need to send all our money to the capitals.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be a little rustic at first, and that's just something that you need to be a bit of an adventurous soul to take part in it, because you're going to spend money with no guarantee of a return on it. You're going to set it up with the possibility that the government or even someone in the community turns into a fifth colonist and phones the police and launches false allegations. I mean, unfortunately, trolls aren't just on the internet. The gates of Troy were no protection in the end, right?
No, obviously. Harlip is saying Canada was built off immigration. Of course, I'm an immigrant. My parents are immigrants. My wife's an immigrant. We're all. If you go far back, everybody goes far back enough. They're all immigrants.
Mm-hmm. Well, you needed people. You had to have them. It was a big empty land, and you had a race at that time for colonies, and and then you had America. So you had this huge expansionist and rapidly growing expansionist power directly to the south of us. So we took Germans, we took Irish, we took everybody. And later on,
Brazil was a bit different. Brazil was just taken in because of the turmoil between Portugal and Spain. A lot of people Brazil was built off basically all Portuguese. That's a majority of Portuguese. It wasn't until after World War II where you had Italian, Germans, and Dutch come in after World War II, and then they became a melting pot in the society of Portuguese America. But no, a majority of Brazil, the gold mines, everything, the infrastructure was all built off Portuguese labor, right? And there wasn't flocks of people immigrating to Brazil at the time. Nobody cared to live in Brazil at the time. They were all wanted to go to the Americas or other parts. You know what I'm saying? Are you there? Did we lose you, Sweet Pea?
Yeah.
You there? Supreme? We lost Supreme Cannon. But no, it's like different. Yeah, but the thing is, like, when you start going into early navigation and conquering or colonization or expansioning, it's different. It was first mainly the Portuguese that started it in the 1500s. The Spanish were still at war with Alhambra. The French were at war with the British. It was the Portuguese that snuck away and did everything. And then that's why the Portuguese presence in Asia is 293 years longer than any other European country. So it was very different. It was a very different way of expansioning. And someone's saying, Mike, BC pays a lot of hell more in taxes. Hello?
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
Good. How are you, Leaf? We got our man, Real German Instincts, Leaf, in the house. What are you up to?
Nothing too much. Just having a rum and a Coke.
Yes. What time is it? Like 4 a.m?
It's almost 2 a.m.
Oh, okay. So, off-grid town. I didn't know about that country called Liberland?
Lieberland. I'm not sure either. What's that about?
Oh, we were looking at it earlier in the show. It's an actual country off the Croatian and Serbia border there. It's like an actual independent sovereign country that's looking for people to immigrate to be free and be have a transparent constitution and not work yourself to death for no reason.
What's the Canadian? How does one set up a municipality with a community or a group of people, like-minded individuals, that would want to set up a municipality in Canada? What is the requirement?
But there's no point with that, right? I'll tell you why. I'll explain to you why. Because we're still going to be federally taxed. We're still going to be provincially taxed. We're still going to be corporate taxed. We're still going to be taxed to death. Why do we have to send money? Why does the town I live in have to send federal taxes to the capital? We're so far away. What's the point? We're not seeing any of it here. You know what I'm saying?
There's two things in life that that are almost assured to occur.
Death and taxes, I know.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly. You will pay taxes and you will die.
Yeah.
I'm
not talking about not paying taxes. I'm just talking about being more libertarian and people like kind of paying for what they use type of thing. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah. Well, there's always going to be, like look at Wexit. What is it about? It's about the West subsidizing East socialistic policies. People are upset about it, right? Like they have no control, and we don't get enough seats to make a difference. That's the whole reason people are upset. But I don't know if I don't think it's avoidable at this point. But nonetheless, if you have your own municipality, you can at least have more dictate over your own lives, right? More self-determination. Yeah, you gotta pay the government and you gotta pay the provincial, the federal. But
why are we sending money to capitals that are 5,000 miles away? It makes no sense when we could use it in our own municipalities.
Of course, well, it's simple. Like what was the Quebec guy said when he was dumping raw sewage into the St. Louis River, when the Alberta Premier says you guys dump human waste into the St. Louis, so yet you won't accept a pipeline? His response was, what was it? We have 10 million people or something? That was him saying, know your place, basically, the Quebecer. It was the mayor of Montreal. It was a couple years back. That's why, because there's more of them than us, and they think that they can just leech off of us. That's exactly what it is. And we don't have the numbers to say it. No.
I'm talking about a municipality where it's completely off grid. We have our own printing system where we print our own, mint our own silver. We do our own thing. We kind of barter if we have to, but we use our own currency. We can mint it ourselves. I've seen
that's illegal.
Presses.
I think. I'm pretty sure they'll just get you on they'll just get you a sale tax on whatever bartered for free, whatever fair value of that transaction was. They'll get you for that. Like, I don't know how the Amish operate, but they got to pay their taxes, I'm pretty sure. The only people that can get away with what you're basically saying is you'd have to have your own native reserve. Because I know the reserves have special rights, but the rest of us don't.
Yeah, but taxation's been like it's like the same thing. When you had the Boston Tea Party, the whole thing been what is 1776 back in 1775, back in those times. Well, why were they sending taxes back to the capital, which was at the time was London, England? Why would New England need to send taxes back to the capital? It makes no sense.
Well, it makes sense for the elites. The people running the system, it makes perfect sense. They want their cut. They want their money. They want their milk and honey, basically, right? And what happened when the Americans didn't want to pay that tax? They sent in the British fleet, and they had a war.
Hold on. Harlip has a point. A corporate business. We created a town, but created as a corporation. Everybody that's in that town is part of the corporation, but with a specific, depending on the corporation, the way it's set up, we could expense our vehicles, our everything that we use in that corporation and that business. So any income we could make, we could be offsetting it on our capital gains.
That sounds brilliant, but I don't know if it works in reality. But I do know there was a mining town in BC, and they did exactly, I'm not sure how it exactly worked, but they had their own town, their own hospital back in the 1980s, their own hospital, their own houses for their employees. They pretty much had everything until the company shut down, and then I think a private investor bought it. It's like a BC ghost town for I don't know, how does that work?
It's set up in a way where they don't want it to work, right? It's set up in a way where they don't want it to work. We could easily, you know why they don't want solar power to be a mainstream thing?
Would each member of the community have a certain amount of shares, and then that would be almost like the democracy?
Exactly. Like every vote on council counts as a vote towards whatever we're trying to establish.
Or how many shares are on the board, or whatever the voting. Instead of being a voter, you'd be voting on your shares.
That's right. Yeah,
That's a
we're
very
just throwing
interesting
ideas
concept.
out. Yeah, we're just throwing ideas.
I
out.
love that idea. I love it. Expensing your own town's cars as tax write-offs. Like, come on, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's something.
But how
we
long?
have.
But how long before the government would step in and be like, "You can't do this. This is wrong.
Well,
you guys are abusing it."
well, they're gonna have to create. They're gonna have to create laws. They're gonna have to invent laws to basically shut us down, and that they'll do that. That's the problem. So what has to happen? It has to be like, yeah, you have to break away from the Federation, right? So something needs to. I don't know, man. Like you have to find what I think the way to do it is to create an exclusion zone in an area, okay, and create it as a non-contested, unsurrendered territory. And then something needs to happen from there. I don't know, man. It's got to be an uncontested, unsurrendered territory, but it does not belong to the.
Yeah, but you'd be talking to get that set up. You'd be talking about committing Waco, basically.
No, I wouldn't say like that. I would say like.
Well, Bundy Ranch, Waco.
I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about like an unsurrendered territory where it's a territory. I'm talking like 400 acres. I'm not talking about a ranch. I'm talking like a piece of land, fence it off, put nature preserve signs all around, no trespassing, nature preserve signs, barbed wire, and then 10 kilometers in is our town on a river. In the middle, and we're solar with this. We got our greenhouses. We got bikes, beautiful. We have our own like lanterns. We have our own solar power. We have our own street lights. We don't have to send $30,000 of our tax money every year, or $56,000, whatever you pay a year in tax money per household, to the capital so they can keep a light on our street. You know what I'm saying?
It would require a group of people to have a lot of trust in whatever was going down or whatever was being done. Well, a lot of financial. You'd have to put up a lot of financial, and depending on what the town exporting stuff, then you'd have to make sure everything's like legally, from a legal perspective. You have to make. I don't know. It's a lot of. If you were to do it under a corporate structure, say the town's doing an export, you gotta, like, who's to say some nefarious party member or rogue member of the community just starts pocketing all the money and.
But it makes no sense to have all the money because there's nothing to do with it in the community. So it's not about money.
Well,
it's not about getting rich or money.
Well, the town's still going to need money to operate either way.
I understand what you're saying, but it has nothing to do with it because if you're living in there, you don't need money. You need, because you are using your earnings that what you're, and you're getting your stuff. We could even set up a whole credit system. We could set up a whole thing where you have a credit system with credits, like Republic credits, and.
It's almost like a hippie commune idea, but
but it works because all of us in the community need to agree that these Republic credits, okay, we create our own like not a blockchain currency, but nothing so super serious, but something for us to trade within ourselves, and that's it. It's not legal tender to anybody outside of our community.
I like gold and silver.
Right, that's that too.
Like that.
Right. Yeah, I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, it doesn't have to be in Canada or the United States. You could go somewhere in Colombia and do it. You could go somewhere in Nicaragua and do it. You could go somewhere. There's a lot of. Remember the video I was showing earlier of all those ghost towns in Japan? There's hundreds of ghost towns in Japan. The Japanese government is giving free homes to people if they could maintain them.
Well, Japan's doing that now, like Italy.
Yeah, a lot of countries are doing that. So, I mean, you just write them a letter and tell them why you want a home and why you'll take care of it and this and this and that. And they'll do. It's really not that hard. I actually found out from somebody. I even got an email from somebody when I did that whole Japan giving away free homes video. I got an email from somebody from this organization there that's building a community. They were asking if I wanted to join and bring my family. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to move to Japan now because they were offering me a whole house. They're like, a whole house for your family.
Sounds nice.
Mm-hmm. Because because that's what we're kind of working towards all our lives anyway, right? So imagine you get that right off the hop, and then everything becomes gravy then, and then you start working and focusing on establishing and expanding your business and expanding your mindset and expanding your instead of focusing on paying down a mortgage that you'll never pay off in your life. Your life is a complete waste of thought. Your house broke and you got nothing to look forward to.
Well, I like the idea of living off the grid, but I do still like some modern amenities, like the internet.
No, I'm saying living off grid, but having our electric car station, electric bike station in our town.
Okay.
And completely solar paneling every roof, wind turbines out in the forests to generate power, all the proper hookups, and then we're by a river, and we could, obviously, if you're close to a river, you have groundwater. We could drill in for everyone to have a proper drainage and a proper...
Why not? You set it up as a corporation and then, or something like a gated community. Or a combination of the both, if you can legally get away with it and fuse them together.
The problem is,
then you can keep outsiders out, and you can't be like you're being xenophobic or whatever it is. Be like, no,
it's not even that. No, we can't be xenophobic. We can't be xenophobic because it would be.
I'm not saying you were xenophobic. I'm just saying,
but it
to an outsider, we'll use whatever excuse maybe to get in.
I get it, but they can't call it that one because it's going to be a combination of people from all backgrounds. So it doesn't really matter. It'll be people like, oh, this guy here is an electric technician. He's from Johannesburg. We need him. This guy here is from China. He's an accounting expert. We need him. We got this guy here from Russia. He's a language expert. We need him. We got a farmer from Wyoming.
What happens when DB moves next door?
Woo! But you know what I'm saying, right?
You know what I'm saying, right?
Mm-hmm. I know what you're saying. I know what you know, but people will get approved through a council. They'll sit in front of the entire council. Everybody in the town will have a town hall meeting, and we'll accept 2 families a month or something. We'll sit there. The 2 families will state their case, where they're from, what they've been doing, what they could contribute, what they've lost, why they want to become part of our world. Oh, it's like that movie. That where there's a prison, the island's a prison, and then they have the good guys, and then they have the bad guys. And so what happens is they parachute these criminals on this island, and if you get caught on the good side, they have a whole farming, a hospital. They have all their stuff set up. But then if you get on the bad side, it's all road warriors and criminals. It was a really good movie in the late 80s. If anyone knows what it's called, put it in the comments section. I think it's called Escape Island. It's from the early 80s, and it's about a prison island. And it depends where you got dropped off parachute-wise. If you're going to die or live or join a cult or... Oh, it's awesome.
Was it called No Escape, 1994?
Exactly, No Escape.
There you go.
How'd you find it?
Just Googled it. The description you gave.
Okay. No Escape. So here's what it looks like, guys. Watch this movie. It's actually really good. What's his name? Here it is. No Escape. No Escape. The old one. This one here. Not this new one with, what's that guy's name there? No. This one.
You ever get to go hiking up in the BC mountains like the Rockies or something?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Is it on your bucket list at least?
I'll do that once in a while. Here it is, 1994, No Escape. 1994. I like to end the show with giving people a movie idea. Here it is, No Escape, 1994. So this guy gets... So these are the good guys. These are the good guys here. And then these are the bad guys here. I'll show you what these are the bad guys. So they're this island, and they're divided, and they have a choice to... You don't have a choice. Well, if you get caught on the wrong side, you're screwed. You're like this. You're screwed. The movie's really well made. And there it is. They're living off grid, but very primitive. Like I said, it was a prison camp, so they don't get supplies that come in for them. Yeah. So it's a good movie, guys. No Escape. And even the Sega Genesis game for it too. Holy crap, dude. No Escape. Watch it. There's the rebels there, the bad guys trying to break into their camp. I'm not going to spoil the movie. It's really good. Anyways, Leaf, any last words? Because I'm going to sleep. I'm freaking tired.
No, that's it was a fun thought of experiment for the night, eh?
Yeah, we just want to talk about off-grid living, off-grid town. People that are just sick and tired of being scared to go to the local 7-Eleven because they're going to get stabbed. People are sick and tired of driving in traffic. People are getting sick and tired of wasting away their lives on this debt cycle.
It's just more debt, more high costs, more bubbles, more inflation, just never ending. And then they use immigration to keep it all going and spread it around, all that debt. And it's a never ending cycle of Mickey Mouse fraud, basically. The only question, when do you think this thing's going to finally pop? I'm getting to a point, it's been 10 years. I don't know if it is ever going to pop.
We're probably going to a stagnation period, and homes will stay where they are. And the people that got in at the right time will be fine, but no, it's not going to fly. I think a lot of people are just going to have to immigrate. Canadians will immigrate. We'll have housing refugees moving to the States, housing refugees moving to Mexico. It's just going to be, people are just going to have to leave.
One thing that I was thinking about that could finally end the bubble is, do you think when do you think the oil glut will finally, supply will finally dry up? Because I know they're pumping this stuff out of the ground at a loss, and they're also pumping it out on a energy loss. They're spending more barrels of energy to produce less than they're receiving. So
right, they're carrying fuel just to have fuel. I know.
So with that said, with the oil glut, and they're producing oil at a net loss on profit and also on just the energy return. How long do you think the oil glut can last, and when will it dry up? Because I think that might be the breaking point that finally breaks the system, because cheap energy is what allows the elasticity.
They keep spoofing the markets right now with metals and oils and commodities. The only way this could happen is a full-on hot war.
You don't think that we'll eventually run out of the oil supply, or
No.
at least the glut? I mean, not the oil supply, but the glut.
No.
They're just going to keep the glut going. Well, when do you think we're going to have a hot war, and where is it going to be?
It's going to be soon. It's going to be anytime. Humans always go to war. It doesn't matter. Look at the Bible. 80% of the Bible is war. We will go to war. I don't care. It could be the two between the two unthoughtful countries or countries you never thought of would go to war, and then it'll move to a grander scale, and it'll just go into big time. It's gonna happen. We're always at war. Humans are always at war, no matter what.
What do you think the next war is possibly? What do you think?
Hong Kong, I think, is going to be a problem. I think once China has its grips fully in Hong Kong, I think that China's going to go move for Taiwan, and I think once China makes the move for Taiwan, I think that's when you start seeing...
Japan will never let China take Taiwan because it's too much of a national security threat.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's the next step right there. Once China moves into Taiwan, it's over. You could start loading up on guns, bring your friends, it's fun to lose. Yeah.
I'm thinking the two highest probability chances of a war right now are between the US and Iran, or it would be or the West versus Iran, or it would end up being something in the South China Sea, a conflict going on there. And things could change if they have a Tiananmen Square event in Hong Kong, because the Hong Kong stuff, now they're starting to build bow and arrows and medieval equipment in there.
I'm trying to get
a hold of Evan. It's only a matter of time
Evan.
before they start trying to kill the cops, and then it escalates, and then the Chinese government's not going to... Because did you hear about the local elections in Hong Kong?
I did.
Yeah, so that's a big slap in the face of the CPP, and the CPP does not like to be surprised. And the fact that happened, they're not going to allow themselves to be mocked for much longer. They're already sending in fake or PLA dressed up as Hong Kong police to beat the local population, but that doesn't seem to be working, right?
No, it's not going to work. People will rather die then give in. A lot of people said they're writing their last letters to their families and saying they're willing to die.
And here's another thing: even if the Democrats boot out Trump, I think there's still going to be hostility towards. Like, it looks like the Democrats are pretty anti-Chinese right now. Mm-hmm. So,
well, once unemployment goes rapid in China, and once the middle class starts to default, you're going to see China start a hot war.
It's going to be interesting days.
Yeah. Yeah, if Hill Dog gets elected, someone said in the comments, if Hill Dog gets elected, she would probably be in a major war now.
Hill Dog is not going to get elected, but a lot of the Democratic candidates right now, the front runners, are also anti-China, and they're speaking anti-Chinese rhetoric. That's actually almost more hardline than what Trump is spouting at the moment. So, you know, and it's pretty hard for the Democrats to support China when you know it goes against their ideology kind of a bit with what they're doing in Hong Kong. So it's even a hard sell to their own party. You know, yeah. Not that it stopped Trudeau very much. Trudeau seems to be sucking up to that money.
Woo! Anyways, dude, I gotta go to sleep. We'll talk later, okay?
Ciao for now, buddy.
God bless you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, don't forget to join me on the other channels, guys. I am growing in popularity on other channels. If you want to shoot me a tip on PayPal, go ahead. Support me on Patreon for $1 a month. I'm on Brighton. I'm going to get my Brighton channel here. I'm on Brighton, guys. Get on Brighton, view my videos so I could get to a point where I get unlimited uploading. I could get hopefully they're gonna let people stream on here. Here it is. Oops. Mike Martin's channel. Guys, get over to Brighton right now and subscribe, please. You'll see all the channels that you used to see on YouTube that are gone. V-Man saying, Mike, can we talk about China next week and how they're destroying the West and how we can fight back? Yeah, we could talk about China. And we could talk about, I think China has more of an internal struggle. And I think once we could kind of pinpoint what their internal struggle is. Yeah, it's finance. Yeah, it's fiat. Yeah, it's a fake economy. Yeah, it's built on a house of cards. But there's something bigger, and I think there's something big that China is really, really keeping a secret. You know what I'm saying? So this is me here, guys, on BitTubers. If you guys don't mind going to BitTubers, I'd really appreciate it. I'll give you guys my BitTubers over here. Get to BitTubers. Get on there, guys, and support me on there. All you have to do is watch my videos. I'm getting a lot of views on here. And a lot of views. And I only have 13 subscribers. On YouTube, for me to get 82 views on a YouTube video, and I have experience on YouTube, I would need at least 400, 500 subscribers to get 80 views. I would need that much. I have 13 subs, and I'm getting 80 subscribers. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Get over there. Support me there, guys, if you can. And if you could support Lord Humongous, he's starting up a GoFundMe to get a few things on the go. I'll get him on the show again to give us an input on what's happening, on what he's planning on doing, and I'll plug his GoFundMe thingy, and then we could discuss what he has in store. Anyways, guys, lots of love. God bless. And, yeah, this is our off-grid community. This is us right here. This is the town we're talking about. It's right here. All of us together here. God bless. And I want to take some open lines next week from you callers. So we got Tig Nim. I want to get him on the show. We got that other gentleman here. Yeah, we got to get Mike Banks on the show. Red Pill Gary. We got to get, who's the other person that was commenting here? Blunt News. Okay, we need you guys on the show. Come on the show. If you're still watching, thank you. But if you're not, Merry Christmas. And come on the show. Let me know. Comment below. Thanks for watching. And don't forget the subscribe button.